We just broke a 54-month streak. Finally. Look, it took me a while. It took, let's say half of that 54, maybe 24 of the 54 months to get it, but finally happened. Yes, it's true. Job reports. I know you're like, well, who cares? I care. You should care. Here's why. Let me share this slideshow with you guys. It's going to be amazing. First and foremost, because of what I'm about to tell you, rates in a darn near moment, New York minute, I've just gotten significantly better. This is Mortgage News Daily, shows that at this moment we got 6.9 showing up on that 30-year fix. What happened? Green is good, guys. Remember, look at this. This is mortgage-backed securities. That means rates have started going lower since mid-July. We had a big tick right there in the beginning of August, and that was due to the August job reports not being great. Here we are a month later. Job reports just came out today, and again, another big jump. And here is why. This is finally happening. So today's job reports was no bueno. Came in at 22,000 jobs created. The market was expecting 75,000. So that in itself, not good. In addition to that, how good are these stats, which we've been questioning for 2 years, give or take? Um, Healthcare and social assistance was like 47,000 jobs up, like maybe not, hard to know. But look at down below in yellow, down here at the bottom right. This is what changed for the first time in 54 months. A June number that, by the way, this is how much they miss. They said it was 140,000 jobs created. It just got revised to a negative 13,000. A negative 13,000. So that's the first negative number we've had at 54 months of consecutive job growth. This is the first number. Now it got revised for June. Who knows what happens for July? You can see they did revise it up 6,000. But still, it's finally happening. We've been saying for a while, we just don't believe, we being the mortgage market team, just don't believe that it's going to be as good as it sounds. Because I know a lot of folks that lost their jobs. It is what it is. And things are not as good as he's saying. And here's why. Here's another stat. So the household survey. This is where they come up with the big unemployment rate. And they're like, oh, unemployment's at 4.3%. You're like, oh, okay, that sounds really good. By the way, that is really good from a number standpoint. But the reality is, check this out. That last piece down below, supposedly 100 or not 100, 1.3 million people, 1.3 million people are working part-time because they can't find full-time. So while they're not counted as unemployed, they're certainly underemployed. That's not reflective in those numbers. In fact, job quality down below that whole table section, full-time jobs minus 357,000 people. 357,000 people lost a full-time job, and almost 600,000 took a part-time job. So these don't get counted in that unemployment. And I also saw a stat that said people are now working 2 hours less than they did pre-COVID, not by choice, but the employers are cutting over 2 hours of their jobs because, again, rather than fire somebody, they're just going to pay people less, keep the same overhead or head count, I should say, but reduce their head count. So it's finally happening. The weakness in the labor market is what's now helping interest rates get better. So we are now going to focus on refinances. Why? Because rates are coming down. And if you think you're eligible for refinance or even want to know what it could be, even if it's not today, maybe it's a month or two down the road, Fed does meet September 17th. It's now basically a 100% chance they're going to cut. Um, the folks I follow, I read a bunch of places, listen to a bunch of people, think there's still going to be 3 cuts this year. One coming up at September 17th, and then 2 more after that. So whether or not mortgage rates follow, they will go slowly. I think it won't be as dramatic as today unless there's some massive shock like there was today. But again, people are sitting on record equity. What is it? Up 600 billion billion dollars more equity than they had a year ago. That is crazy to me. 34.5 trillion with a T. I can't comprehend numbers that big. Have 35 trillion basically in equity, which is crazy. This shows total equity. The gray line or not the gray line, but the gray bottom section is the mortgages. So you can see the mortgages going back 25 years from 2000, how mortgages have grown, which makes sense because house prices have got more expensive. But then you see the total equity. Even after the 07-08 bubble, there was still equity, but now look at what it is after COVID. Look how it shot up, how much equity people have in their homes. It is crazy. 43% of all refinances right now, and the refis are a little over a third of the market. 43% of them, almost half of them, are just for cash out reasons, not to lower your rate from 8% down to 6 something or 7 to 6, but for cash out reasons because they have all this equity and they got debt. I thought this was really interesting. Annual home price growth. This is as of July. And Texas, we got negative. So, well, okay, good for you, El Paso. But for the most part, 2 to 4%. We've kind of seen that. There's some pockets of the Metroplex here in North Texas that are doing fine. Some where there's a lot of new construction, they're discounting some. But ultimately, 2% in the grand scheme of things for what we've had in this realm the last 5 years, not that big a deal. I'd almost consider that flat. Austin, certainly, 4% being the big one. That hurts. But you can see that Northeast, man, it is still humming. Like there aren't any homes being sold in there just because nobody's selling. It's just the inventory is so low, which is why the prices continue to grow. States with the lowest home equity offers, I just thought this was fascinating. Texas is not part of it. States with the highest, Texas is not part of it. I don't know why. Just thought that was interesting. Lastly, featured meme of the week. Yes, it's about refinancing your home. And get this, if you do need to refinance or think it's worth it, reach out because at the end of the day, what you think may be a good idea may not. Make sure we calculate savings, not just monthly cash flow. And as far as making it happen, Texas, we're kind of smacking the dab in the middle as far as income. What I thought was interesting about this for the average income by state, DC, Washington, DC leads the country in per capita income over 100,000. How does that make sense? Politicians get paid the most? Who knew? The hottest markets, good for us. According to this study done, DFW ranks #1. I don't know what criteria go into it, but doggone it, we will take it. It's got 11% job growth since 2020. We'll take it. DFW rules, Texas rules because Houston was #3. Meme of the week, benefits of homeownership versus renting. I think we all know it. Renting pouring money down the drain. The interest rate on renting is 100%. So, with all that said, we appreciate folks still saying nice things about us. We do appreciate that. You know how to get us and get a hold of us. So, if you do need something, please reach out to the Mortgage Mark team. We're certainly here to help. And if you don't know when you should refi, reach out to us, mortgagemark.com. Reach out to us and just let us tell you when it makes sense, whether it's today or a year from now, to be determined. But let's at least run those numbers and get them ready. So, rates finally cooperating. Looking forward to seeing what happens here in the next couple weeks.